Breaking news. Welcome back to OI Charts Market Brief. Here are today's top updates. First news. Torrent Pharmaceuticals has launched an open offer worth rupees 6,842 crore and 80 lakh to acquire 26% of JB Chemicals and Pharmaceuticals at rupees 1,639 and 18 pays per share. Second news. Blackstone Incorporated plans to sell up to 9.5% equity in Mephasis through a block deal, aiming to raise rupees 4,626 crore at rupees 2,570 per share, a 4.4% discount. Third news. Nifty 50 companies reported a 7.59% rise in sales for the second quarter of FY 2026, supported by cooling inflation averaging 1.22%, giving traders positive momentum. Fourth news, shares of WPIL Limited surged 7%, touching a high of rupees 422 and 90 pays, after securing a rupees 426 crore contract from the Matla Ametsi joint venture. Fifth news. India has signed a historic LPG import agreement to bring in 2.2 million tons per annum from the United States, covering nearly 10% of the nation's annual requirement. Sixth news. KPI Green has secured a rupees 696 crore and 50 lakh contract for a 200 megawatt solar project in Gujarat, strengthening its renewable portfolio. Seventh news. Pace Digitech has won a major rupees 929 crore and 75 lakh EPC contract for a 200 megawatt AC solar power project, reinforcing its clean energy roadmap. Eighth news. India's economy is expected to grow 7.5% in the second quarter of FY 2026, supported by festive demand and GST rationalization. Ninth news. Following the Trump administration's 50% tariff, Indian exports to the U.S. fell 11.9% in September, prompting a rupees 45,060 crore bailout package for affected sectors. 10th news. Reliance Consumer Products has entered the pet food segment with its brand Waggies, priced 20 to 50% cheaper than rivals, possibly igniting a price war. 11th news. Tata Motors posted a loss of rupees 54,620 crore in Q2 FY 2026 due to a cyber attack at Jaguar Land Rover, with revenue falling 14% to rupees 72,349 crore. 12th news. Page Industries has announced a second interim dividend of rupees 125 per share for FY 2025-2026. Approved on 13th November with a record date of 19th November, this payout is likely to boost investor confidence. 13th news. BC Investments plans to sell up to 2% of Emcure Pharmaceuticals via a block deal valued at rupees 493 crore, with a floor price of rupees 1,296 and 51 pays per share. 14th news. PNB Housing Finance has received a credit upgrade to IND AAA from IND AA+, impacting rupees 4,955 crore in debentures and rupees 6,500 crore in loans. 15th news. Shares of Apollo Microsystems dipped by 1.29% to rupees 275.25 after profit booking, following its subsidiary's acquisition of IDL Explosives. 16th news. Concerns are rising over potential PSU bank mergers, impacting smaller banks like Bank of Maharashtra and Indian Overseas Bank as investors reassess their positions. 17th news. All Cargo Logistics appointed new leaders after merging its domestic supply chain operations, achieving 11% revenue growth, surpassing rupees 1,000 crore in the first half of FY 26. 18th news. JSW Infrastructure shares gained 3% to Rs 285.55 after announcing a rupees 3,716 crore capital expenditure to acquire a 51% stake in South Minerals Port Company in Oman. 19th news. Max Healthcare reported a 23% year-on-year EBITDA growth and 21% sales growth, driven by a 22% rise in hospital sales. 20th news. UBS maintained a buy rating on Max Healthcare with a target price of rupees 1,550, citing 21% revenue growth in the second quarter. 21st news. Force Motors plans to invest rupees 2,000 crore over the next 3 years to enhance its global presence and expand in the defense sector. 22nd news. GNFC approved a rupees 450 crore expansion of its ammonium nitrate production capacity, increasing it by 163,000 tons. 23rd news. Precoal plans to invest rupees 500 to rupees 600 crore over the next 2 years to scale up capacities in its switches division. 24th news. HG Infrastock is near its 52-week low after its price target was cut from rupees 1,339 to rupees 1,142, currently trading at rupees 875. 25th news. ICRA maintains a stable outlook for the Indian aviation sector, predicting 4 to 6% growth in domestic air passenger traffic for FY 25-26. 26th news. The benchmark 10-year government bond yield is projected to decline by 10 basis points due to benign inflation and expectations of RBI rate cuts. 27th news. The Indian rupee remained stable at rupees 88.65 against the US dollar, supported by the RBI's forex market interventions. 28th news. TCS faces scrutiny after receiving a show-cause notice regarding allegations of terminating 2,500 employees without due process. Medium impact. TCS 29th news. Fitch Ratings sees minimal risk to Indian oil marketing companies from Russian sanctions, as Russian crude accounted for 1/3 of India's oil imports this year. 30th news. U.S. sanctions on Russian oil firms may reduce their revenues, potentially influencing global crude oil prices. Traders are closely watching market reactions. 31st news. Kotak Mahindra Bank is considering a stock split after 15 years to make its shares more accessible, currently trading at rupees 2,100. 32nd news. Petronet LNG announced a 70% interim dividend of rupees 7 per share for FY26, with a record date of November 14th, projecting a 49% upside in its share price due to strong quarterly earnings. That's all for today's market brief. Stay tuned for more updates.